morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning and for joining us. I think we could use a variety of words to describe today: momentous, auspicious, once in a lifetime. But it would typically just be another cold Monday in March were it not for the hard work, the support, and the leadership that we have had throughout this process in the way of our mayor, Stephanie Miner. Today we are here to commemorate the transfer of the operating certificate, and I would like to introduce our mayor, who would like to say a few words. Thank you, Chris.
I want to thank you all for being here on what is a tremendous day for all of us in the city and in the airport. This was a major goal of my administration. For far too long, we as a community had realized that we had neglected an engine of economic development, that is the airport. We were the only airport in New York State that was not an authority, and as a consequence, we had a competitive disadvantage. And so when I came into office, I decided that this was going to be one of the major initiatives that we pushed to move forward. Now, I made that decision not realizing how big the rock was going to be on our backs to push up the hill. But we have been successful in doing that, and just like everything else that is worth accomplishing, we did it because we had a tremendous team of people who helped us do that. And so I want to first and foremost thank the Airport Commissioner, Commissioner Callahan, for her unending focus on getting this done. She has truly remained vigilant and focused on this goal. I next want to thank the Airport Authority members who have also been vigilant in making sure that this happened and worked with us through the process of oftentimes being on dual tracks as we had to run the airport both as a city department and as an airport authority and had to share responsibilities. I would like to thank the head of the authority, Mr. Bill Fisher, who has also remained vigilant in his focus on accomplishing this and who has been able to drill down to depths that I didn't know possible to work out details and kinks and get information and move this through the process. There have been many times, and maybe I will be the first mayor to say this, Bill, there have been many times where I have thanked my lucky stars that Bill Fisher, a county employee, deputy county executive, has been on the Airport Authority board to really work through these issues. And so, again, Bill, thank you on behalf of the City of Syracuse, but most importantly on behalf of the entire region that this airport services. And I also, of course, want to thank Frank Loprano, who represents the FAA, for being here, who worked with us to help move us into this brand new period of the Syracuse Regional Airport Authority. The goal with the Airport Authority was to maximize the airport as an engine of economic development, both for our business community and for our leisure travelers. And we have seen benchmarks of us accomplishing that goal with attracting new low-cost airlines and having other airlines expand their service. We have also worked through a $60 million expansion at the airport. We have a new concession contract, and we have made significant improvements to the airport as we have worked towards this day. So I want to thank all of you for making this day possible and for remaining focused on making sure that we improved the services to the public and that we were true public servants by allowing this airport to be maximized for what it truly needs to be, and that is an engine that services the people of Central New York. Thank you.
And now I would like to introduce the chair of our board. Most of you know him by day as Deputy County Executive, but by night, on weekends, and on holidays, he is all things all airport, Mr. Bill Fisher.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Mayor Miner. There was a story in the newspaper yesterday, you might have seen it, it was on the front page, and it was about the relationship between my boss and the mayor of our city. It was a well-reported story, but I think it missed the sheer volume of the interactions that take place, not only at the top, but at the next level. And I can tell you that there's been a tremendous amount of work not only between the mayor and the board and the aviation department and the commissioner, but also between the folks that work for the mayor and City Hall. The county executive is given one appointment out of the 11 that are on this board, and the county executive made me her appointee. And soon thereafter, the mayor, who gets to decide that, chose to designate me as the chair. And my guess is that that was something that was worked out ahead of time, because Joni didn't seem surprised at all when that happened. The county executive has also made it possible for me to take any amount of time that I needed away from my job as her deputy and come out to the airport and do whatever was needed. And without a doubt, the mayor has made it possible for me to reach her at any hour of the day or night by text. On a couple of occasions, I asked for a face-to-face meeting. On other occasions, she had things that she wanted to share with me. And I felt, and I think the board thought, that it was going to be a little easier than it was. They had asked me for a timetable, and I think we had put together kind of a detailed project plan, and it was going to be done by last July or something. Yeah, I don't know, Mayor. In the last week, several people have told me I'm very detail-oriented, and I don't know how to take that. But the plan didn't come off quite as expected. We ran into some hurdles with Common Council. They wanted to deliberate further on certain things, and it was an election year, and there were some side effects of that. But in the end, we found a way to continue moving forward, to try to take some of the things out here that were opportunities, for example, with the security costs, and the mayor found a way to move that over to us, so that last July we began taking over security. And that resulted immediately in a 40% reduction, which was a $1.7 million reduction in what the airlines are paying out here. And that matters. And some of the things that the mayor and Commissioner Callahan were able to do was bring some new service here. And the airlines like Delta that brought the service back for Minneapolis St. Paul, or Allegiant that brought direct service to Tampa St. Pete, told us that cost curve really matters to us. And that $1.70 per plane passenger is one of the things we're really looking for. So as we made this transition happen, the mayor and her deputy, her chief of staff, Bill Ryan, and Chris Callahan were working very closely together to make sure that the airport continued to move forward. They took the terminal renovation and got that finished in splendid fashion, and I think the flying public is tremendously better for that. I'd like to say a couple words about the board that I'm on. I've served on more than a dozen of them in the last 10 years, corporate boards, nonprofits, government-type boards, and this board is second to none of them. The mayor had 7 appointments. She made some brilliant appointments. Judy Flanagan of Data Key Communications, who I think is in Florida. Pat Mannion from Columbia Life Group, who's here. Beth Ruggie from the mayor's office, who's here. Khalid Bey from the Common Council. I don't think I saw Khalid. Eleanor Ware, who's a retired Syracuse University executive, is here with us today. Don Thompson, the retired personnel commissioner for the City of Syracuse, whose expertise was invaluable. John Johnson Jr. is with us today. He's the publisher, or the retired publisher, I guess at this point, of the Watertown Daily Times, and 3 other original appointees from other appointing authorities. Dr. Donna Desiato of East Syracuse Manoa Schools, Irene Scruton from the town of DeWitt, and SUNY Oswego, Dr. Bob DeFloria, who's termed off, and now Mark McCotra, who's replaced him on the board. I commend these board members for volunteering their services and working a lot harder probably than they ever expected to help further our mission. The most important thing, though, in the transition is that the mayor had already put an excellent management team in place. And as you'll notice, her airport commissioner is now our executive director. And the management team that worked for Chris is still working for Chris. And the more than 100 people who show up to work here every day, 24/7, 365 days a week, a year. And I think we were talking about the FAA's representative drove up here because he wasn't sure about the flights and whether they would be intact. I think we have closed for less than an hour this year because of the dedication of those 105, 110 workers who, under no circumstances, are willing to ever see flights canceled in or out of here. It's always another airline, and we're very fortunate that the bargaining units and the representatives of those bargaining units took their responsibilities very seriously, worked with the Common Council, worked with the mayor's office, worked with us to find a way to get this done. We also benefited tremendously from outside expertise that the mayor helped us acquire through the procurement of dollars out of a very tight city budget. We were able to bring a tremendous law firm on Hancock and Estabrook. John McCann, who I've gotten to know very well and I consider a very good friend at this point, was absolutely instrumental in making sure that the security handover went cleanly, that the food and beverage handover, that everything else worked very properly, that the 40-year lease agreement and all the other agreements and the things that went to the FAA that was about this high, Chris, were all done correctly. Without the mayor's support to go out and get those resources, we couldn't have gotten it done. Dave Moynihan from Testone Marshall, Steve Baldwin and his associate from Steve Baldwin Associates, all of these outside experts were working behind the scenes to make sure that this took place in an orderly fashion. Since 1946, the city of Syracuse has been in charge of this airport, and a series of mayors have overseen many changes here. But it's Mayor Stephanie Miner who deserves full credit for persuading her Common Council and then the New York State Legislature to pass the enabling legislation. It's also Mayor Miner who deserves full credit for getting the Common Council to approve the contracts that we signed together and unanimously hand over the keys to this airport for the next 40 years. I'd like to finish by thanking the mayor for the opportunity to serve as the chair. You can be sure that we will do you proud.
Now, it wouldn't be a ceremonial event if we didn't actually have a ceremony to commemorate the transfer of the operating certificate. So, Mayor and Mr. Fisher.
I am presenting to Bill the Federal Aviation Administration Airport Operating Certificate, effective today.
Today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
So does the media have any questions? Good answer.
Just, what do you see as the primary benefit from this handover?
The primary benefit is that this will allow a professional staff to come in and work within their own budgets to make sure that we have vibrant services offered here in terms of low-cost airlines, expanding services to around the country, and things that have really been hamstrung by being attached to the city's debt limit and bonding authorization. Well, what we think that this is primarily going to help is not the city's budget, but the people who live in the city, the people who live in Onondaga County, the people who live in central New York, because it will allow them to fly in and out at a more reasonable cost point and allow them to do business, visit families, have people come in here. What we don't often think about is that we have hundreds of business travelers who come in and out of this airport and like the convenience of coming in and out of this airport. This will allow them to have expanded services. We also have families who are traveling in February en masse to Florida. This will give them an opportunity for us to say to other airlines, like we have done with Allegiant, look at this group of people who want to fly in and out of Syracuse. We can expand that. We have hundreds of, if not thousands, of active service members who fly into Hancock to go up to Watertown to Fort Drum. So this will help them be able to have their families come in or have them leave to be able to see their families. So it's really improving air services for the entire region.
By going to an authority, are you doing away with legislative control over the goings on at the airport? How do you ensure that there is some accountability?
Well, airports are one of the most highly regulated industries in the United States. And between TSA and FAA and all sorts of administrative regulatory agencies with A in their name, there are hundreds of people who make sure that the airport is safe, cost-effective, and operating at the level that it needs to be operating at. And they are, after all, experts in this area.
But local control?
The local control is the Airport Authority Board.
Why do you think it took so long? This was the last airport in New York State you said did not have an authority. Why did it take so long?
Because it was tremendously difficult and it took a focus over a long period. And when Bill started talking, I had forgotten all of the things that we actually had to do. We had to go and have the state authorize us, authorize an airport authority. We had to work with the surrounding municipalities to get them to give us permission to move forward on this. We had to deal with the payment in lieu of tax agreements that we have with the surrounding municipalities. We had to deal with labor negotiations and contracts between different groups of employees and really think our way through and then negotiate and discuss with those employees what's going to happen to pensions, what's going to happen to health care. We had to figure out a way how to deal with security costs. So there were lots of really deep-seated issues that needed focused attention on. And in the world that we live in, that isn't always our strong suit. But that's why you hire and empower talented people like the commissioner, like the authority board, like Bill Fisher, like Bill Ryan from my office, to say to them, look, your job is to stay focused on this and to get it done.
How long until the authority is fully independent, not needing to turn to like the city's legal office for help?
We are very close, by the end of the year. All right, anybody else? I just wanted, I was going to say there's no cookies, Chris. It wouldn't be an airport event without cookies, so please come and join us for some cookies and coffee. Thank you all very much.